G'day, I'm Sean, and this little guy is Max. It's cforce Max, it's our brand new lens motor, and it's the fastest lens motor that we have ever produced, capable of speeds up to 400 teeth per second, which is nearly double what the cforce Mini RF could do, which was our previous fastest motor. But unlike some motors, which might trade off torque for just sheer speed, well, the cforce Max has both. In fact, it's just as strong as the cforce Plus, but in a considerably smaller package. The cforce Max is an L-bus lens motor. It's backwards compatible with loads of different L-bus devices and uses the same cables that you might already have. But there's probably one thing that you've noticed on the motor which is quite new, and that is that we have a big display here. And in fact, that's a touch screen, and there's now a lot of configuration that you can do on the motor itself, which you might previously have had to either do on your Alexa or in i5. So for, say, example, you were at the camera swinging a lens and then you wanted to change the torque setting of the motor. Well, you can do that just on the lens motor itself, instead of having to go back to your focus station where you might have the hi-5 mounted. And then actually, because of the display and what we can do here, you can actually trigger the calibration of all of your lens motors at once just from the cforce Max itself. But there are a lot of new software features we're introducing with the Max motor which haven't existed before. For example, you can now set encoder limits for your motor, and you can set a filter so that you can basically have a smooth ramp in and out of focus pulls if you wish. And of course, yes, we've included some customization options in there as well so that you can choose from a range of different colors. And don't worry, there's still a physical button too, just like the other cforce motors. Now, the cforce Max can be a focus, an iris, a zoom, or an auxiliary motor. And yes, it is smaller than the cforce Mini RF, so in applications like wanting to use a rotopolar, well, this might be a good option. Basically, you can set it as an auxiliary motor, and then you can use a manual calibration in order to basically fake end stops on, say, a polar, which might not have one. And if you have a really fragile or vintage lens that you want to take good care of, then maybe a manual calibration would suit that workflow as well. The cforce Max uses the standard 50 teeth gear which we had on the CLM4. It's nothing new, and it will work with a smaller gear if you'd like more power as well. And then in fact, you would have about 20% more power than a cforce Plus if you have a really stiff or heavy lens. Now, why did we make this motor so powerful? Well, there's a couple of reasons. First of all, been speaking with a lot of first ACs, in general, not having to worry about the power setting and instead limiting the torque of the motor is just a better thing to have. You're never going to be caught out when you suddenly get given a lens which has, say, a massive optic group and is quite difficult to turn. So that's a good thing. But also, because this motor is so fast and so strong, it's very quick to react. And so if you're using a feature like focus tracking with a focus bug, well, this motor will be excellent at that because it can just respond and move in real time, because of course that's the difference when using, say, an autofocus system like the focus tracking system. It can't anticipate movement like human focus pullers can. We've also designed a brand new motor clamp for the cforce Max called the MRC1. And the MRC1 is also backwards compatible with the cforce Mini and the cforce Mini RF if you'd like to upgrade the clamps on some older motors. And the MRC1 is pretty cool. For starters, it's the first clamp that we've produced which has both a 15mm option or a 19mm option. If you go for the 19mm option, you'll also get inserts to make it into a 15mm, but we know that some people don't like that and they'd rather not have the opportunity to lose the little inserts that you have, even though they are captive. But some people we know just only use 15mm rods to mount the lens motor. So we've optimized that clamp to make sure it is as strong as possible and will not move, even with the extra power of the cforce Max. The other cool thing with the MRC1 is that it's really adjustable. So I can swing this knob all the way around, almost 180 degrees here, and I can flip it. So it would be on the other side, which is great if you're rigging underslung, for example. And in addition to that, the little lever here that you use to tighten the screw in that dovetail, well, I can undo it and flip it to the other side as well. So that if I'm using two motors right next to each other, well, they won't collide anymore because you can just put the levers on the opposing sides. So the MRC1 is really cool. Now, I'm trying not to go into too much detail in this video. We will have a tech talk that will come later on where I'll go into a lot more detail about those software features and some sample configurations as well. So please keep an eye out for that. But for now, one little nice thing that I can end with is to say that the cforce Max is actually available from today. We already have stock, and we've already sent stock out to our subsidiaries around the world. So there's a very good chance that your local ARRI dealer will only be a couple of days away from getting their hands on a cforce Max. So please reach out for a demo. Now, if you have any further questions, please check out the website at arri.com/cforce Max, or of course, throw them in the comments and I'll get back to you. But for now, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.